Hey everyone, the company Engwe contacted me and said that they would like to send me one of their Engine Pro e-bikes here. This is a folder bike, so I'm kind of interested to see what I think of that. I've never had or reviewed a folding bike before, so that'll be first. A lot of people really like the Engine Pro. It gets really good reviews online, and it's definitely an affordable bike for the quality components that you get on it. So I'm really interested to get this out of the box and see what we have here. Most of these bikes are pretty easy assemble. They come about 90% together. You're generally putting on the front wheel and your handlebars and putting your seat and pedals on. And with this one, we'll have a front fender as well. So pretty standard, but we'll take a look. I'll get all this foam off and we'll see what we've got underneath. First look here that everything came through shipping fine, except I do have a dent in my front fender here. The wheels on these are really cool in that they are not spoked, but they're mag wheels. This is what will come in your toolkit with the bike. You've got a little flat tin Phillips screwdriver, 3 sizes of Allens, 3 sizes of open-end wrenches. So I start by laying the bike over on its left side. That keeps it off of its rear derailleur here. You don't want to lay down on the right side. And also puts the caliper in a position where you can actually see what you're doing when you're mounting the wheel. So all forks on e-bikes generally come with this support brace here. They're usually just hand tight. Down here on your front brake caliper, you've got this red spacer, and that's in there to keep the brake pads apart enough that if you insert your rotor in there, there's enough space for it to go in. So what you want to do is just pull straight out on these and they come loose. They're just sort of clipped in. Now make sure that you don't touch, just make it general practice not to touch either of your brake levers. Just leave that laying to the side. If you were to touch your front brake lever, it would close the caliper and you'd have to pry those pads apart again, and that sort of negates the whole purpose of this spacer there. So don't touch your brakes. Pull out that red spacer. Loosen up the nuts on the axles of your wheel here. Insert the rotor into the brake caliper. Now is just stand the bike up, put it on its side stand, and we can work on it from there. The steering riser here is where the bike actually folds when you're gonna fold it all up. So pull this little lock up and fold your lever out, and this whole thing tips over here. And this part here is what we're going to mount to here. I'm going to keep this facing forward, which would put us kind of in that general orientation there. And I'm going to fold that out of the way and put this back in. This is going to go in and screw down. Take your middle size Allen wrench again out of your toolkit, put that in there and just spin that down a little bit. So we don't want to tighten this very much because this is controlling the amount of play that's in the 2 bearings here. So we just want to kind of snug it and then back it off just a hair for now. And we're going to leave it right at that. Then we're going to come back to the front here. We're going to lock that in place. We're going to line up. We're going to line up this notch here with the front wheel. And over on this side here, I'm going to turn this all the way around so you can see. We've got some lockers that are going to lock this in place to the fork stem there. We've got this guy here. It's calibrated. Got this recess on one side, and there's a sort of flat spot up here. So that recess goes there. I'm just going to drop it all the way for now, and we're going to lock it in place just like that. Again, take your middle size Allen wrench and take off these two here. Keep the gap front and back the same on this top cap. So kind of feel what you've got and work back and forth and do a little tightening on each and just keep everything even. What you don't want to do is have this cranked all the way down to where it touches and then a big gap up at the front here. Just keep it even. Doesn't have to be perfect, but keep it close. So I started by mounting the front fender using the rear stays here. We'll go ahead and screw those in place on both sides first, and then that sort of locates your fender. And I can tell from that this fender is going to mount to the back side of the cross here. Put your bolt in, put that through. We know that's going there, and then you can get everything started on the back side here. Now all we've got to do is just drop the seat in. Just open up your clamp there. I see this has a plastic liner here, which is actually pretty nice. Makes everything real smooth. I'm going to go ahead and just keep the seat low for the time being. On the ends, lots of pedals have this, not all, but you'll see right there is a L and right there is an R. So right and left. This is the right. So this is going to go on this side of the bike, and it'll be standard right-hand thread. So that's going to screw in just like any normal bolt would. Take your 15mm wrench, you've got a couple of flats there, and tighten that up. Now we're to the left side of the bike. We've got our left pedal, and this is going to be reverse thread. It's a left-hand thread, so it's going to spin counterclockwise to thread in. The pedals are still a little sticky because they're brand new, so you can kind of spin them in by hand most of the way. And then take your 15 again and crank those down. So these pedals are supposed to fold. Let's see how that does. You push them in and then you lock them. Okay, so pretty cool. Never had folding pedals before, but that looks very cool. So push them in and turn them up. Just step on them to release them, and they come back out and lock. There is the Engwe Engine Pro mostly together. I'll probably need to do a few little adjustments on it. We'll put it on a bike stand and see if it's shifting okay, and if all the adjustments are working as is. So the Engine Pro here has an all aluminum frame, including a big heavy aluminum rear rack. They say that this bike will climb to 30-degree grades. We'll definitely do a bunch of hill climbing with this and see how it does. The power is selectable between either 500 watts or 750 watts according to the manual. It'll do 28 miles per hour in top speed. That's a standard class 3 e-bike speed. Here we talked about some of this before. We've got metal fenders. I personally really like metal just because I like to have as little plastic on bikes as possible. That's just me, but I know a lot of people like plastic fenders as well because they don't dent and they don't rust. This has what would technically be called a 4-link suspension on this frame. 4 different pivot points here, up to what I can only assume is a spring shock up here. I don't think there are any adjustments on it. I don't see anything yet. So just a regular set rate spring shock. The nice Shimano Altus gearing on it. The rear cassette here is an 8-speed, and it is a 1328. And the one thing I noticed here with the Altus on this particular one, this must be the new style of Altus or something, but they have these huge chain wheels on them, way bigger than anything that I've seen on an Altus in the past. The front sprocket here, your big ring here is a 52 tooth. So that being a 52 and your highest gear being a 13, you should easily be able to keep up with this pedaling at 28 miles per hour without feeling like you're ghost pedaling, but we'll find all that out. I like the overall look of the bike. I think it looks really nice. The welds and all, those are pretty. Nothing wrong with those at all. The front fork here, I'm not sure about the brand who actually made them for Engwe, but they are just branded as one of their products. I don't see anything else on them. We'll have to measure and see what kind of travel these have. Just guessing from the looks here, I'd say they're probably in the 50 millimeter range, somewhere close to that. Looks like they have a lockout, and over here they have the standard preload knob that you see on a lot of these forks. So there's a spring on this side, and this is a cartridge side over here. On this side you've got 160 millimeter rotors with full hydraulic brakes. These are unbranded. I don't see anything on them, but I'm sure they're made by Logan or Tektro or one of those. I've had the bike on the charger for a few minutes here. It came to me with about a 55% battery charge, which is pretty typical. That's usually where they like to store these batteries, like in the warehouse, at about a half charge, that kind of thing. So that's normally what you'll find when you buy an e-bike and first take it out of the box. The battery itself, which is housed in here, your controller is back in this section. The battery is 48 volt, 16 amp hour. Your ignition switch is under the main tube here. Turn to this position, that is the off. If you turn this all the way backwards, then that releases, you can see this little pin here. If I move this, see that pin locks your battery into place. So if you turn this all the way backwards, it releases that pin in this position. We're back to just off there. And if you turn it forward, then the key locks into place so it can't fall out. And you come up here and you can turn your bike on. So you push this till it comes on. And then if you hold top and bottom here, you'll get your screens. And so we're gonna go to setup, take a look there. You can set the brightness of the lights. Auto power, I've got set off right now, which is your lights coming on automatically when it gets kind of dim lighting. So I want that off because I don't want to discharge my battery when I don't need to. Speed limit, right now it's set at 31 miles per hour maximum. I can't go any higher than that. We'll go into personalization. CRU is cruise control. I've got that set off. The ACF is the abbreviation for the regenerative charging, and I want to try that for sure, so I've got that on. We'll play around with that later. Supposedly if you're going over 14 miles an hour downhill, the battery will recharge to some degree. So that'll be interesting to see. Auto headlights off, power set. This is an interesting mode here because you can go through all your pedal assist levels. You've got 1 through 5 and set the percent of power that you want for each one of those levels. Right now you can maybe make out that I've got it set at 25%, 35, 50, 77, and 99. But you can custom tailor this to be exactly what you want it to be. If you want your maximum speed to only be 15 miles an hour and all of your pedal assists to be gradient below that, you can set it up that way. Just set it up to about 35% as max. Really nice for seniors. If you're getting one of these for an older person, to get used to the bike, it would be really nice to have those set on lower percentages just until they feel confident on it. If you don't touch anything for I think it's 30 seconds, then it goes back to the normal screen here. Let's look at system info. That's not anything we're gonna mess with. And we're just back. We're in pedal assist 0 right now. I'm gonna click up to 1. Just using the throttle, we'll see what kind of speeds we get. I remember we had pedal assist 1 adjusted for 25%, and that's showing 9.3 miles per hour. We'll go to 2. And we've got 13 miles per hour. 3. 18 miles an hour. 4. 24 miles an hour. And pedal assist 5. We're jumping up a little over 30 miles an hour according to the speedometer. So not bad. That's a nice range of speeds there. It gives you a good variety. I have the bike on my bicycle stand, which lifts the rear wheel off. And now we can run through the gears and see if everything came to us well adjusted here. So let's see what this does. Wow, I can feel a lot of resistance with the motor. That's interesting. This is a direct drive motor. All of my other hub drive bikes have been geared motors. So different design on the motor here, and pedaling without any assist, there's quite a bit of motor drag. So that's interesting, but that's also what is supposed to work the regenerative charge system. So as you coast over a certain number of miles per hour, it's supposed to be recharging your battery. We're gonna check all that out too as we go. So let me click through the gears here. And no, it won't go into the last gear, which means we probably have extra play down in high gear here. And we do. We've got an extra click there at the bottom. So it was set up with the shifter in the wrong position. So I'm going to see if we can adjust this out just with the barrel here. Let's see what we can do. If you turn this out, it's lengthening the cable and tightening things up. Not quite enough yet. You don't want to crank these up too far, but it'll give me an idea if I need to reset the cable or not. No, still not enough. I'm going to do a few turns at the top here. Okay, there we go. Now we've got full use of all the gears. So just a minor cable adjustment. That's all it took, was just to turn that out a little bit. Not uncommon to have things a little bit out when you get them. Lots and lots of YouTube videos around on how to do that. I don't need to show you that. But yeah, minor adjustment on the shifters, and we're good to go. Okay, well, this is a first for e-bikes here. I have this bike hanging from my scale, and it is showing 70.9 pounds. That is 32.3 kilograms. So I believe online this bike is listed as being 88 pounds. So the fact that it actually weighs 18 pounds less than that is absolutely a first. Bike manufacturers always lie on their weights. I've never gotten one that actually weighed less than the advertised weight. So pretty crazy. Here's your battery here. So let's see if they say what cells are in this. No, they do not. I think just for ease, because it's not the easiest thing to get this out of the bike, I'm just going to leave this in the frame and charge it in the bike. My first impressions of the bike are that it's actually really nicely designed. It looks good. All the welds are very nice. That rear rack is particularly nice, very solid. I like the metal fenders. All the components are good quality items that you're not going to have any issue with. And all in all, looks like a real good bike. So the next step is to get it out on the roads and trails and see what we actually think of it. This is its maximum power. And we are averaging 18 miles an hour right now. Slippery. So we have climbed up from down there in the bottom of the valley so far. We're doing well. We're still going up. We started out way down in the valley there. So I got out on the Engine Pro, as you saw today, and it did really well. We did a 5.5 mile steep uphill, and the bike averaged probably between 15 and 18 miles per hour on most of that. So not bad at all. Seemed to have good power. I was in pedal assist 5 sport mode, so maximum power coming up. And when I got to the top, I still had 82% of the battery. So that's pretty good. So lots of tests coming up. I'm also going to be doing some modification videos on this bike. I've got some ideas for it already. So if you're interested in this bike, either thinking about getting one or you have one and you're thinking about making some changes to it, subscribe to my channel. I'll have lots of videos coming up. Thanks for watching.